Hi guys, it's Naomi and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Thank you so much for joining us. So for today's video, it's gonna be a different one. I'm gonna be taking you guys with me to get my eyebrows nano tattooed. So if you would like to see how this whole process goes, definitely keep on watching the video. So it is currently 7:54 and it is July 10th, which is a Tuesday, and today's the big day. I am getting my eyebrows done. The girl I'm going to is Permanent Beauty by Lily on Instagram. I will maybe insert her Instagram right here. I'll also have her linked down below. She's super talented. I'm very excited to get my eyebrows done. I'm like also a little bit nervous just because I don't even let people fill in my eyebrows, so it's a lot of trust to be having somebody literally like tattoo my face. But I've seen her work, I've read all her reviews, like they're all amazing. The only downside is that she's in Calgary, which is why I'm up so early. We're leaving to, well, me and Quincy are leaving to BC tomorrow, and we have to go pick up his passport, which is why I am up at this time. And from the passport office, we are then going to be heading down to Calgary. So I'm going to bring you guys with me. She did let me know that I totally could film, so hopefully I can get us both on camera. We'll take you on this journey. They're so pretty. Wow. I like the little strokes and everything.
Yeah, the little strokes in front look really good.
Yeah.
And then your tails and arches are all nice and
Yeah. You're right. The combo's the way to go.
Yeah, the combo's the way to go.
Yeah.
It just looks like how you fill them in.
Yeah. I love them. They look so good. So my brows felt a little tight whenever I kind of raised them, since I raise my brows a lot anytime I make any expressions, but besides that I didn't feel any itching or anything like that. They definitely were a little bit darker, but nothing too crazy. So yeah, it kind of was like that for the next couple of days. This is when the peeling started to happen, so kind of little chunks were flaking off piece by piece, but it wasn't anything too crazy at this point. It was just very little minimal peeling. And by this day, you know, you start seeing the chunks fall off. Now, at first I was kind of alarmed. I was like, I don't know if this is what was supposed to happen. I don't know if it's supposed to look like this, but I decided to stay cool, calm, and collected and let the process happen. And by this point, like, most of the brow was gone. It was definitely awkward walking around with little weird patches of brow. So I wore hats for basically the whole trip just because I didn't want to get any sun directly on my eyebrows that were just freshly peeled. I also didn't want to get any water or bacteria on them or any sweat. So I found wearing the hat definitely helped out. My brows kind of stayed looking like this for the next couple of days. There wasn't any huge dramatic change, but at this point they were fully peeled and just kind of getting that newer skin. And here you can see that they're starting to get a little bit darker, but nothing crazy yet. And now we have our fully healed brow. So I got my brows done on the 10th of July. It is August 1st, so it has been quite some time, and this is what they are looking like. And I have my touch-up appointment in September, so I'll be able to, you know, darken up certain spots, get more hair strokes, kind of changed them a little bit, but overall I am super happy with how they turned out. All I have on them currently is a little bit of concealer above and below, but they aren't filled in right now. Usually for work, if I have like a full eyeshadow look, I'll darken them up a little bit, but not by much. And I don't know if it's super duper noticeable on camera, but in person when I'm looking in the mirror, I can definitely tell, but my tails are just a little more patchy and a little lighter than the rest of the brow, but that is to be expected because that is where I had the least amount of hair. So I'm not too worried about that. They definitely still look good when there's nothing on them, but I thought I'd just point that out, that there are still parts that are patchy, but it's nothing too crazy. You've seen the process of me before wearing the same shirt before I got my brows done, and then you've seen me getting my brows done, and then the process that has gotten me to this. So I just kind of wanted to go over a couple things that I wasn't able to go over in the video. I wanted to kind of talk with Lily about like what nano tattooing is, but completely forgot, honestly. Like in the moment, even though Quincy was there filming, I definitely forgot about asking her certain questions. It was super awkward at first kind of filming there because it wasn't just me. She has a home studio, very, very, very beautiful home studio, but her then partner Robin was also doing brows on another lady there, so it was kind of weird for us to be filming at that point in time, and then by the time we did start filming I completely forgot. So first and foremost, everyone probably wants to know what I did to my brows. So I went in originally thinking that I wanted to get my eyebrows fully just nano tattooed. I will put a couple of pictures of some of Lily's work. It's a lot different than actual microblading. So microblading is done with almost a scalpel-like looking tool. It's very thick. I'll put up a picture kind of comparing the two, but that is done manually by a human creating the hair strokes. And the dye is put on top to kind of sit into your open wounds, and then you get the hair-like look. Compared to nano brows or nano tattooing, which is a mechanical machine. It is a lot thinner, so you can get more precise, more realistic hair-like strokes, and since it is a mechanical machine, it vibrates, so it penetrates a lot deeper, therefore your eyebrows can last a lot longer. So yeah, that's basically what nano brows or nano tattooing is. So like I said, I went in there thinking that's what I wanted to do. All of the pictures that I liked and kind of saved to my Instagram were of nano brows. So in my head, I thought that's what I wanted. So when I went to Lily, I told her exactly that. Like, here are some inspiration pictures. I want my brows to look like this. And I can really appreciate the fact that she took so long consulting with me, figuring out my eyebrow shape, figuring out what I like, and we discussed kind of back and forth what would be the best for my brows. And I think that's a big thing when getting your eyebrows or anything done really, is that it might look great on somebody else, but that person might have different skin than you, a different skin type than you, might have more brow hairs than you, or maybe they fill in their brows differently. So there's a lot of other aspects than just, I like her brows and that's what I want, and that's what I kind of learned. So Lily kind of threw out the option of doing a ombre or powdered ombre eyebrow look. And I've seen a lot of these pictures before of people with very thick, bold brows, and that really wasn't the look I wanted to go for. My main goal was to just have, you know, a little something there when I didn't fill in my brows, just because I didn't have a lot to begin with. So I kind of told her, you know, I'm not too sure. Like, I don't want my brows to be super dark and super bold. Like, I like having the option of filling them in to create that look, but I don't want it for every day. And that's what we kind of went back and forth about for a little bit. And it's different for me and for my brows. I'll put the before picture that she took, and if you've watched my last video of my brow routine, you've seen me with no brows on. My eyebrow hairs are very thin and very sparse, but I do have quite a bit of hair in the front section of my eyebrows, but not a lot on my tail. And for me to achieve the look that I wanted and the shape that I wanted, it just wasn't realistic for me to get only the nano brow, because it wasn't going to last as long, it wasn't going to give me the effect that I wanted, and it just wasn't going to look the best on me. So we kind of met in the middle, and she said that she would do a kind of combination of the nano hairs in the front and then the ombre in the back. My memory card just got full, so I had to switch it out for a different one just in case anything looks different. But yeah, basically we agreed that we were going to do a combination, so we were going to do more of the nano hair-like strokes in the front and fade it into kind of a more intense powder look, just to kind of replicate what I already do when I fill in my brows. I really like the look of the faded brow. I'm done with the boxy brow. That was 2012. We don't ever need to relive that. My main goal was basically just to have brows when I wasn't wearing brows, if that makes sense. I was fine if they didn't look as bold as I make them when I fill them in, but I just wanted to have more shape, more color obviously, and a little more thickness to my brows than I had when I had nothing on my brows. So the main difference between nano brows and powder ombre brows, or just ombre brows, is basically the technique. So a powder ombre brow is little dots, kind of creating more of a shaded, filled in look, compared to the nano brow, which was what creates the hair-like strokes. So combining them together gave me my perfect brow, which I'm super happy that I listened to her and that I trusted her to make that decision for me, because it turned out the way I wanted them to. And I think that's a big thing too, is just trust your artist. Like, she spent so much time consulting with me. Like, I don't know if it's usual to spend that much time or not, but I want to say she spent a good 25-30 minutes like mapping out my brows, getting me to stand up and look at them, getting me to sit back down, getting me to look at them, getting her to look at them, getting me to sit up, getting me to lay down, like just getting all the angles. And I can really appreciate that, because, you know, it's only going to be on my face for a while. And with that being said as well, everything's semi-permanent, so even if they ended up not turning out the way that I wanted to, they'll fade. I will have to get them touched up eventually. I think my next appointment is in September, and then after that it's going to be just annual appointments, kind of keeping up the shape and the color. So next, let's talk about color. I wanted my brows to be the color of Anastasia Dip Brow in dark brown, but just a smidge lighter. That's kind of what I told her I was going for, and she created the perfect color. She swatched two on my forehead and we kind of compared which one might look a little bit better, and then we went with that one. So it wasn't like I was given a bunch of colors and I was like, this is the one I want. She did all the work with the colors, which I think is probably better, just because I think she would know what would look better on me than anybody else. So that was really nice, just to kind of have, you know, the two options to choose from. You don't get overwhelmed with like 6 different colors to choose from. And I find the big thing that I was kind of told prior to getting my brows done was, don't let them use black. Whatever you do, don't let them use black on your brows. Now, to me, that just seems like common sense. I have a couple of tattoos. They are obviously black, but looking at them now, they do have more of like a bluish greeny tint to them, just because black is not an organic color. It's a shade, therefore it fades differently, and I wouldn't want my brows to be that dark anyways. Like I said, I usually use Anastasia Dip Brow in dark brown, and I think there's maybe 3 or 4 shades darker than that one. So I definitely don't like my brows super duper dark. Like I said, 2012 days, we don't need to go back to that. And she made it very clear that she does not use black on anybody, which is definitely reassuring for me. And I know a couple of my friends who, you know, are more melanin queens, have a little more color to them, all were asking me, you know, let us know how it goes, because some of my friends were told that they weren't good candidates for microblading or nano tattooing or whatever else because of their skin tone. And I didn't have a problem with that. Lily didn't even really bring it up. But it is definitely a reality. Some people just don't know what they're doing. And that's the big thing with just choosing a very good, reputable artist. I've been following Lily on Instagram for 2-ish years, possibly 3, because I've always wanted to get my brows done, and it just recently became this big thing that started. And she was one of the people who I really liked, and I told myself, you know, if I save up this money and if for some reason I can actually afford to get this done, this is who I'm going to. And I've only seen her grow and excel and get better over following her for that long. So it definitely wasn't something impulsive. I definitely did my research. With anything, you need to do your research, because I've heard so many horror stories of ladies who've gone to like Groupon and it was a 50% off thing, and you know, they didn't have a lot of experience and they didn't look at any of their pictures and they didn't see any reviews, but it was cheap, and you know, they wanted their brows done and they turned out bad. So I feel like when it comes to something that you're getting done, whether it's tattoos on your body or on your face or anything really, you get what you pay for. The only reason why Lily's able to charge the amount that she does is because she's good at what she does, and you are going to get what you pay for. So definitely do your research. And speaking of prices, so for my brows it was $750, not including tax. And that also doesn't include the touch-up. So now when I go back in September, I think it's $135 possibly. I'll have to double check that, but definitely not on the cheap side. And anybody who I've told is always like, oh my god, you're gonna pay that much. But like I said, it's something that is on my face and I'm willing to pay the extra to get somebody who is good at what they do. And Lily is amazing at what she does. And she has all of her prices on her website, and like I said, I'm gonna link that below for anybody who does want to book with her in the future. So next thing that I always get asked is, did it hurt? I honestly asked Lily this too when she was about to start on my brows. I was like, on a scale of 1 to 10, you know, what am I dealing with here? And she was like, I don't know, like maybe a 2. I was like, okay, sure. Like, she must have a super high pain tolerance, because that sounds crazy. But she did the first pass and didn't put any numbing cream, and it literally, I think she was generous with the 2. Like, I'd probably give it a 1 because I really didn't feel anything. It really wasn't too bad. Kind of closer to the end, my eyes, there was like one of my eyes started to water a little bit, but I think that was mainly just from me having to open and close my eyes, like looking at the bright light and stuff. Not really necessarily because of the pain, because it didn't feel like anything. So I guess last thing would be Aftercare. So she did send me home with this sheet right here that kind of gives you a play-by-play on how your brows are gonna heal, and then, you know, what to avoid for that amount of time. And then she also gave me this ointment. Such a weird word, ointment. She did give me this. I originally, when she gave it to me, I was like, I'm supposed to use this for the whole time. Like, this is super small. I still have so much in here because I needed the smallest amount. But it says it's just a vitamin E, vitamin D ointment. Basically, this sheet told me to apply this every couple of hours with a Q-tip, just to kind of help moisturize that area. The brows got pretty nasty, as you saw in the pictures and videos. They peeled in chunks. It wasn't the cutest. I wore a hat a lot of the time, but Aftercare was super self-explanatory. As long as you follow the rules, I don't know why anything would go wrong. I feel like as long as you're responsible with your Aftercare, you'll get, you know, the results that you're wanting. I want to say the whole appointment took maybe 2 hours, maybe 2.5, somewhere in that, you know, range, because she did have to consult with me, figure out what I wanted, figure out my shaping, and then actually get it done. So it wasn't super duper long. And then yeah, I have my next appointment in September for my touch-up. So basically that appointment is going to be shorter, but it's just going to be a matter of, you know, extending certain hairs, darkening up certain spots that didn't hold on as well. I think I'm gonna ask her to go a little bit darker for my color, and then I definitely want to get a couple more hair strokes in the front. But besides that, I'm super happy with how they look. Like I said, I just have concealer around them, and I feel like they look like my brows are filled in and done. A lot of the people at my work were like, what, your eyebrows aren't filled in right now? Because they're used to seeing me with my eyebrows filled in. Well, yeah, I really enjoyed my experience with Lily. I would definitely recommend her to anyone who is looking to get their brows done. She is the one to go to. If you guys have any other questions, or if there's anything that I didn't really answer that you wanted to know more about, definitely leave me any comments down below. I would be more than happy to answer any of them. And give this video a thumbs up if you did like seeing my eyebrow transformation. It was definitely a crazy one. We went from having no brows to having some bomb brows, so that's, what more could you ask for? And of course, feel free to subscribe to my channel. It definitely helps me out a lot, and then you can see all of my other videos. If you want to go the extra mile, feel free to go follow me on my Instagram. I will have that linked down below, as well as my Facebook page. I think that is it. I'm just hoping I didn't forget anything. Like I said, if I did forget anything, I'll leave it in the description down below, and if you guys have any questions, definitely feel free to comment them and I will reply back. But yeah, I think that is everything. Hopefully I will definitely see you guys in my next video. Bye.
Hey, we got a good thing. Don't know if I'ma see you again, but is that a good thing?